Hey you guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to talk about Miss Katie Joy. I know, surprisingly, I hadn't talked about her for so long, and now, what is it, twice in a week? But either way, I had some thoughts about her recent coverage of the Gypsy Rose situation and Gypsy's release and some of the things that have unfolded over the last couple of days. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys. So, very interesting that Miss Katie Joy has kind of taken the lead all by herself on making sure that media outlets like TMZ are reporting facts and they are not spreading misinformation. She is going to take them on, just, herself and her. To make sure that they are sticking to the facts. Now, if you're wondering, if I could pick any YouTuber to make sure the media is reporting facts, Katie Joy would not even be on my list. I'm with you. I am right there with you. Now, Katie Joy has been called the TMZ of YouTube for over 3 years since I discovered her. She has been called the TMZ of YouTube because she is a trauma vulture. She gets facts wrong all the time, does not correct herself. She zooms in on really traumatic situations and makes a ton of content about it. This is not somebody who just makes a few videos full of facts, and follows a story like a lot of YouTubers do. This is somebody who will use any and everything to literally make sure that her video gets viewed. Even if it's a distasteful thumbnail, if it's a clickbait title, while using a traumatic situation, if it's peppered with gossip like tags and things on the thumbnail to make sure that it's getting clicked, she will make sure that those clicks come in at all costs. For whatever it's worth, she's going to make sure that her video performs really well in the algorithm. And Katie has been doing this for a very long time. And the reason that some people are called trauma vultures is because of the way that they report on things. It's not an issue that, okay, this is happening and it happens to be really sad, and there are certain YouTubers that are making videos about it. That's not the issue. But it's the issue of the distasteful, tacky kind of a manner that these things are covered in, and you're having it produced by a YouTuber who has no trust. They've gotten tons of stuff wrong in the past. They have shown that they are driven by the dollar bill. That is their main focus. It is not advocacy or lifting up voices or wanting to see justice. It is simply running live streams, collecting AdSense and donations by using a traumatic situation that is filled with misinformation and clickbait. So, two different genres. But Katie Joy has come onto Instagram and proclaimed that she is friends with Gypsy Rose's stepmom, which I have no clue if that is a fact or not. I went back and looked before Gypsy's release, like, was Katie covering Gypsy Rose? Because you would think, hey, she's friends with stepmom. She was probably making a ton of content long before anyone even knew that Gypsy Rose was going to be released from prison on this date. She made minimal content around Gypsy Rose. I was able to find a small handful of Gypsy Rose coverage before all of this, and in the last, 3 or 4 days, she's just made so many posts on Instagram. For some reason, she has not been uploading on YouTube. Her last video was posted 9 days ago, so maybe she's taking a break over the holidays, and that's why things are so heavy over on Instagram. But she also hasn't live streamed in over a year, which I found interesting. Unless she has gone live and just hasn't left the live stream up afterwards, that's a possibility. But she is just over on her Instagram telling everybody that she is the one who's going to make sure that there are facts delivered around Gypsy Rose. Now, my opinion on this is I don't believe anything that Katie Joy says. And I don't believe that her intentions come from a pure place. I think that they come from a place of wanting to be the loudest person in the room and make sure that if she's covering something and other people are covering it too, she wants to make sure that she gets the most clicks, she gets the most traffic to her channel, and she is the one that is going to be remembered as covering whatever topic is at hand. I don't think she should ever try to coin herself as the person who sits in a seat and tries to hold other news companies accountable for what they are reporting, because here's the thing that I always kind of think of. You know that picture of Spider-Man where it's 3 Spider-Mans and they're all pointing at each other? That reminds me a lot of this. That reminds me a lot of the stuff that I see on YouTube, where it's, let's just say, Katie Joy, who, you know, is covering this stuff full of misinformation, clickbait, and nonsensical garbage. She's pointing at TMZ that's doing the same thing. And then TMZ is pointing back at her doing the same thing. And it's just kind of like this trifecta of, you're all wrong. All of y'all are wrong. So who are you to hold anyone accountable? And I think about that so often with these, you know, kind of accountability kind of creators where, you know, here's an example. It would be like me. If I was sitting here trying to call out a family vlogger or an influencer for not properly disclosing a sponsorship when I have a long track record of exploiting my own kids or trying to make a family vlogging channel or not disclosing sponsorships that I've had properly, but I'm pointing the finger at other people while I've done the same thing. It's like you can't hold people accountable when you have a long track record of being problematic in the same exact ways. You can't point the finger at somebody for doxing when you've doxed people, but you had a really good reason why you did it. But now you're trying to point the finger at somebody else who's doing it. Like, no, you're the doxer pointing the finger at the doxer. Like, come on now. But either way, you know, Katie Joy, I have sat back and I have kind of thought, like, maybe Katie Joy, after, you know, there was a long while there where there were so many creators calling out Katie Joy. It was endless without a crystal ball content. I was a part of that, and I fully admit that. I was making a lot of content about her because a lot of people were interested in the nonsense that she was involved in and the stuff that she was creating. Eventually, it got to the point where my audience started to show less interest in consuming the without a crystal ball stuff. The same thing has happened with the Doherty Dozen, with my coverage on Jessica Kent. The same thing happened with Katie Joy. Like, sometimes there's creators that, you know, the nonsense is interesting for right now, but after a few months, it's going to be less interesting because how many times can you say the same things? It's like somebody shows you who they are, believe them. If they are, you know, exhibiting themselves to be a trash bin, then they're probably a trash bin. You know what I mean? But I thought, you know, maybe with all that content, Katie Joy would kind of like rebrand herself and become a little more approachable and a little more willing to learn and not try to be such a, I have to be the loudest and I want all the clicks and everyone else is just, you know, second best to Katie Joy because I'm the one doing the most over here. And I kind of thought that maybe she would drop that shtick, but it's very obvious that she's not, and she wants people to know, based on her own words, that she's friends with Gypsy Rose's mom. And I saw Gypsy Rose leave a comment for her. Now, Gypsy didn't say, hey, Katie, I know you're friends with my stepmom. She didn't say anything like that, but she did thank her for her support. So here's how I feel about this. I don't like it, but it's not my name being used. And if Gypsy Rose is thanking Katie for the content that she's making, then by all means, I think that is lovely. However, I still think it's extremely hypocritical for Katie Joy to sit on her channel and try to hold other entities accountable for what kind of information they are reporting when she has such a long history of being just as bad, if not worse, as TMZ. I just find it to be hypocritical, and I also still think that she is a trauma vulture. She did the same thing with the Sophie Long case. She's done the same thing with, you know, all of her coverage about with misinformation with the Duggars and the sister wives. And who was that other, the TikToker that she covered and there was a bunch of misinformation? I don't remember. Most of the things that Katie Joy has covered, there is at least some kind of misinformation or slimy behavior interwoven into the content that she's creating. And it's been a long-standing issue, and yeah, that's how I feel about it. So that is why Katie Joy is a hypocrite still, current day. Those are my thoughts. So for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.